Severe flash flooding, fueled by the remnants of Pacific tropical systems, has hit Arizona with devastating force over the past 2 weeks, leaving at least 4 people dead and causing widespread damage. The situation has been particularly dire in the historic mining town of Globe and its neighboring community, Miami, where floodwaters inundated downtown areas, prompting search and rescue operations and a state of emergency declaration. The recent floods follow a series of storms fueled by moisture from 2 tropical systems in the Pacific. Tropical moisture, likely from a system like Tropical Storm Norma or its precursor, drenched the region, leading to the initial and most deadly round of flooding in late September. Remnants of Hurricanes Priscilla and Raymond moved north into the desert southwest, bringing a second wave of heavy rain and intensifying the flood threat across Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. These consecutive, tropical-fed weather events have proved overwhelming for the normally arid landscape, with saturated ground unable to absorb the heavy rainfall, leading to catastrophic runoff and flash floods. The cities of Globe and Miami, located about 90 miles east of Phoenix, have borne the brunt of the flooding. Heavy rain on Friday, September 26th, caused widespread flash flooding. 3 of the 4 confirmed fatalities occurred in or around Globe. In a major complicating factor, floodwaters washed away approximately 1,000 propane tanks from a distribution facility in downtown Globe, creating a serious hazardous materials hazmat issue. The sight of dozens of large propane canisters floating through the streets and piling up against bridges and other structures was a shocking testament to the flood's power. Just as residents and business owners began their cleanup, a second round of storms hit the area on Sunday, October 12th, causing Pana Creek to overflow its banks once again and reflooding the downtown area. The second flood severely hampered ongoing recovery efforts, further damaging businesses that had already suffered a catastrophic blow. Following the initial flooding, Governor Katie Hobbs declared a state of emergency in Gila County to accelerate the provision of resources to the devastated area. The flooding has not been isolated to Gila County, with significant impacts reported throughout the state. The Valley of the Sun has experienced its own deluge. On Saturday, October 11th, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport recorded 0.70 inches of rain, smashing a record set in 1928, with the month's total already exceeding the monthly average. Flood watches have been in effect for the southern half of Arizona, including Phoenix and Tucson, with additional rainfall compounding the risk of flooding in already saturated areas. Widespread road closures have snarled traffic and complicated evacuation efforts. In Gila County, U.S. Route 60 was repeatedly closed due to flooding. In Queen Valley, located east of Apache Junction, Pinal County officials placed residents on a set evacuation status due to rising waters from Queen Creek. Fortunately, the water began receding before a full evacuation was necessary, though several homes did suffer flooding. Search and rescue operations have been a critical focus for first responders. In one instance, a vehicle was found submerged in 8 feet of water near Phoenix, though a body was only discovered later when water levels receded. Arizona's vulnerability to flooding, particularly during the monsoon season, June through September, has been exacerbated by these tropical storm remnants. The tropical moisture moving north from the Pacific has created atmospheric rivers, funneling intense and unseasonal amounts of rainfall into the state. The consistent rain has left the ground completely saturated, meaning any additional rainfall leads directly to rapid runoff and flash floods. Areas that have experienced wildfires in the past are at even greater risk. Burned land can't absorb moisture, increasing the danger of debris flows and mudslides. With the immediate threat of heavy rain passing, the focus is now on recovery. For residents and business owners in Globe and Miami, the cleanup process has been painfully slow and set back by subsequent rainfall. Governor Hobbs' state of emergency declaration is an initial step towards securing federal assistance to help with the recovery costs for affected communities and individuals. The 2025 flood events serve as a stark reminder of Arizona's flood risks, which extend beyond the traditional monsoon season. Authorities will likely review and update flood mitigation and emergency response plans in light of the severe damage and loss of life experienced this year. As communities begin to rebuild, the floods of September and October 2025 will be remembered as a devastating and costly chapter in Arizona's weather history. The events will likely prompt a review of the county's flood control infrastructure, including detention basins, channels, and drainage systems, to ensure they are equipped to handle future extreme weather events. As climate change contributes to more frequent and intense weather events globally, events like these are becoming less of an anomaly and more of a reality for desert communities. The 2025 floods will serve as a critical case study for Maricopa County's future resilience planning. While less destructive than those in neighboring counties, have left a significant mark on Maricopa County. The events served as a powerful demonstration that even in the desert, nature's forces can turn life upside down, demanding constant vigilance and a renewed commitment to preparedness.
It's come up over.
Meanwhile, heavy rainfall, driven by the remnants of Hurricane Priscilla, has triggered significant flooding and chaos across southwestern Colorado over the past week. The deluge, which began on Friday, October 10th, led to the evacuation of hundreds of households, overwhelmed local flood control measures, and blocked critical transportation routes. While the region is accustomed to flash floods during the monsoon season, this unseasonal tropical system delivered an unprecedented and devastating amount of rainfall, leaving communities like Vallecito and Pagosa Springs reeling. The culprit was the remnants of Hurricane Priscilla, which had tracked northward in the Pacific before weakening. This system, along with moisture from Tropical Storm Raymond, created a persistent flow of tropical moisture into the region. While other states like Arizona and New Mexico also received heavy rainfall, Colorado's mountain terrain proved especially vulnerable. The moisture was forced upwards by the mountains, creating prolonged and intense rainfall. The storm's timing was particularly unusual. Heavy rain in Colorado is more common during the summer monsoon season. This unseasonal downpour was a major contributing factor to the severity of the floods, as the ground was unprepared for such a volume of moisture. In the Vallecito Reservoir area, located north of Durango, the normally placid Vallecito Creek raged at historic levels. At its peak, the creek was flowing at nearly 7,000 cubic feet per second, more than double its high water mark. The sudden surge of water prompted the evacuation of about 390 households in the northern Vallecito area. Mandatory evacuation orders were issued by the Upper Pine River Fire Protection District as floodwaters breached levees along Grimes Creek and the west side of Vallecito Creek. The flooding effectively cut off evacuation routes for some residents, as raging creeks made travel impossible. This highlighted the perilous situation for residents and complicated rescue efforts. The floodwaters overwhelmed flood control systems that were built after previous floods nearly 20 years ago. This illustrates the extreme nature of the storm, which far exceeded previous benchmarks. In response to the crisis, nearby Bayfield High School was opened as an evacuation center, providing shelter, food, and resources for displaced residents. In Archuleta County, the city of Pagosa Springs was heavily impacted as the San Juan River overflowed its banks. Downtown areas, including trails, hot springs, and picnic tables, were inundated. Following the initial flooding, Archuleta County declared a local disaster emergency, freeing up resources for the response and recovery efforts. A boil water advisory was issued for residents with water wells along the San Juan River, as floodwaters can compromise well integrity and contaminate drinking water supplies. On Friday, October 10th, Grand Junction had its wettest day in over 50 years, receiving 1.35 inches of rain. This marked the 7th wettest day on record for the city since 1974. A flood watch remained in effect for parts of southern and western Colorado, including the southern San Juan Mountains, for several days as the tropical moisture continued to linger.
Look at the benches.